Andrea, I'd like to start with you. What do you make of this truce when it comes to Idlib? Will it work?
Actually, the idea of having a buffer zone, if we start with this, has been pointed out by Turkey from the very beginning of the Syrian conflict. It was pointed out by the former Prime Minister Ahmed Davutoglu at the beginning of the escalation of the conflict. The buffer zone deal that was reached between Turkey and Russia in September, unfortunately, has never really been implemented, just because it's a lack of trust between the rebel forces and the Syrian government, who anytime the Syrian forces, the rebel forces, left the guns, started to attack again. So, of course, the rebels would never, or at least for now, it is very hard for them to trust that in case of renouncing of the guns, of the munition, the Syrian government will not attack them again. Then there is Turkey, who has not been convincing enough to the rebel force that they back, basically. They have not been able to convince them to give up the munition. And it's actually very ironic here, because they expect this from the US, because if we look at last week at Jefferson's visit to youth to Turkey and negotiations they had regarding a buffer zone in northern Syria, they expect US to convince the militia that they back up to give up the munition, but they cannot do the same thing in Idlib. And honestly, I think it's a really long way to go still.